Alright, what's happening, everybody? Today we've got an Ampeg SJ-12T Superjet amplifier, and this one is in for distortion noise when using the tremolo. And I've also got a comment on here that they'd like some more reverb, maybe a longer tail, more volume for the reverb, and we'll see if we can go through there and maybe modify the circuit. Maybe we just need to fix something. It may need a reverb tank, but either way, let's turn it on and see what that noise is that's being described here. So the amp's on, but as soon as you turn up the intensity for the tremolo, it's not super audible. It's a little bit louder once you plug an instrument in. Even though this noise isn't super loud, there's probably something else going on that's happening intermittently. So let's get it open, take a look at the inside. Just trying to discharge these caps a little bit. I can't get to the bottom of these caps, and I didn't look at the schematic first, so I don't know where this voltage could be hiding. So I'm just trying to get it right off pin 3. In which, as soon as I touch this resistor there, I got a little scratchy sound from the speaker, so I know I got some of this voltage off. So when I looked online, I did find a site that had some helpful information about reducing the voltage swing on the output tubes. So we will try that and see if that makes a difference. Balancing a camera with one hand and a light with the other, so it's kind of difficult for me to show you exactly what I did here. But if you see basically the 6 resistors right in the center of the camera frame, which is R20, R19, 18, 17, 16, and 15, those have all been replaced with carbon film. I've read at abrammorphew.com that he's had experience with these metal ones arcing, or at least he says that he's heard that some metal ones have arced before, the metal film resistors, and they were easy enough to change out, so we went ahead and did that anyway. Also, right in the center of the frame, R34 has been changed out. It was a 475K resistor. It is now a 1M. And right there under that blue cap, I changed R8 from the 221K stock value to 270K. I didn't have a 270K, so I just put 2 resistors in series to do that. Right now I have a tester set of tubes in there. I'll show you what the tubes that came out of here look like on the tester. One is good, one's not so good, but I just wanted to at least put a known good set in here and make sure everything worked before I went and tried to see if I could match something up with one of the good tubes that he had. Now you probably won't be able to read what's on the multimeters here, but when you start to turn, like right now the bias is sitting 31, 39 milliamps right here. If you start turning up the tremolo, you see that it starts varying wildly. So that's probably putting a lot of stress on the tube. So I would imagine tubes probably don't last that long in this amp because of that. But I tore this apart and started working on it real late last night, so I wasn't really paying attention to how it sounded. I just definitely heard that noise that I'm sure we can go back to and listen to on the video. But, you know, the tremolo was making a sound. That's gone, which is great. And it seems like before, when the tremolo was engaging, it was actually cutting off like all the way. It wasn't just... That's more of a shimmer, you know? The signal isn't disappearing completely. I don't know if that was because of the problem or because of the tubes or both. I'll be straight up and admit, you know, these aren't my favorite things to work on. I did not go over this with a fine-tooth comb. I literally Googled it and I found abrammorphews.com. Very helpful resource. I appreciate people like that putting their experiences on the web. You know, it helps us kind of diagnose and get down to the business a lot faster. You know, so the tremolo circuit in this amp is just a phase shift low frequency oscillator. And it does so by modulating the negative voltage on the grid. That also causes the bias to swing like crazy. I don't know how long tubes are supposed to last in this thing, but you probably need a good set in here. I mean, goddamn, it's idling at like 60 milliamps now because I have the speed and the intensity all the way up. I don't know what to make of that. It is what it is. So let's take a look at the tubes that came out of there on the tester and see if we can't match something up with at least one of the good ones that was left. Alright, so I've got these tubes here on a maxi matcher. Here's number 3. Doesn't really matter what position you put them in. So the plate current on this, 17.4. I've got all these set exactly where they should be. 6L6 means we should see something between 12 and 40 for the plate current. Now, transconductance, we need to see above 2.2. And we've got 2.6. That's pretty good. Now, if we go to this other tube, though, 2.29, 2.28, not terrible, but it's right there at that limit. And we go to plate current, though, we should see between 12 and 40, and we've got 13.9. So that tube is pretty low, probably at the end of its life. It would be nice to get something a little bit closer, at least in the plate current. So let's see if I can find a tube somewhere close to 17 and hopefully 2.6. All right, here's what I've got that's closer. So these are about 2 milliamps apart. Not that bad, but the transconductance is almost dead nuts. This one was like, what, 2.58? Got one here at my stash, 2.57 on the transconductance. It's pretty good. Got another one here that's a little bit closer in plate current, but the transconductance is not as good. Let's go ahead and try these. And whenever I test tubes and want to keep track of them, I always put a little label on there so I know what they were reading at the time I was messing with them. And that way when you take them out and you're swapping them around, you can find the good one again. Alright, so one of these tubes is definitely fucking bad. Because you could hear that instantly. That was a fucking problem. What tube was it? Just went ahead and swapped in another spare that was pretty close. Oh man, I guess that was that was mine. That was noisy. I do need to mention that too, that even though they may test good on a tester, that doesn't mean they're going to work well on an amp. Alright, you turn all these knobs down. And let's see what the plate voltage is on this. 425. So we want these things idling at like 42 milliamps. Tubes don't always fare so well on a combo because listen, if I hit a G note, that tube is just rattling. Let's see if we can do something about that rattle. Alright, so I managed to get that vibration, that buzz to go away. This tube shield here was actually missing a piece of foam that's supposed to go right here. And you know, these should have some kind of retainer or something. On a head, I really don't see the need for retaining rings and springs and all that crap. But for a combo, they're upside down and they're getting beat up by the vibrations of the speaker. That's why it's going to be harder to select tubes for a combo for one. That seemed to help that vibrating issue. Now I don't hear it ringing out through the speaker like I did before. well, there you go. That's a tremolo fix on an Ampeg SJ-12T amplifier. The request was to get the reverb a little bit louder. That's pretty loud. I'm not sure if what we did had any effect on that, but tail is pretty long. The reverb's pretty vibrant on here. This is not a tube-driven reverb circuit. It probably would have been a lot easier for me to bump up the volume in that case, but it seems fine to me. You know, if the customer wants to go down that road a little bit later, we certainly can. I think it's a couple transistors that drive this reverb circuit. But other than that, the reverb sounds pretty good. Well, hopefully if you've had a similar issue with this amp, that this video will help you get that taken care of. The SD card on my camera actually filled up while I was doing the work on this. The work is pretty cut and dry. It's just you got to take a lot of these quick connects and things like that off to get to the circuit boards and take them out. I mean, once you get them out, you know, the work is pretty simple. Just use a solder sucker. I got a solder vacuum. Remove those components, replace them with carbon film, change the two values on this main PCB here, and good luck getting everything back in there. And that's all there is to it. So I guess thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.